Hi, I'm here to talk to you about culture. But first we have to know what culture is. Culture is something that sets other countries apart. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary's definition of culture is the arts and other manifestations of humans' intellectual achievement regarded collectively. So what makes Turkey's culture different from the others? Well, I believe that a culture is based off economic growth, architecture, and the fine arts. The economic growth of a country shows where they stand against the rest of the world on an economical standpoint, while the architecture and fine arts shows where they stand on an intellectual part. A country's economic growth is based on the increase of amount of goods and services produced per head of population over the period of time. Turkey is a free market country that is driven by the industry of service sectors. An architectural sector accounts for nearly 25% of employment. Oil flow began in '08 through the Baku-Tbilisi-Sihad pipeline that brings up nearly 1 million barrels of oil per day on the Caspian to the market. The GDP, or gross domestic product, is the monetary value of all finished goods and services produced within a country's borders in a specific time period, normally calculated on an annual basis. The World Factbook has recorded how Turkey's companies compares to the rest of the world through their GDP. In 2013, Turkey recorded a GDP of $1.167 billion. That's in American dollars. They were ranked 8th in the Middle East. Now the Middle East is filled with Turkey, who is right next to Syria, and Armenia, while connected to Georgia, with Iraq and Iran, with Saudi Arabia in the middle. The Middle East and 17th in the world. Their main exports is apparel, textiles, metal manufacturers, and transport equipment, adding up to nearly 170 billion in 2013, putting them up to 30th in the world. The top 6 richest Turkish businessmen and women in personal wealth adds up to nearly $15.8 billion. This was cited from Forbes. Murat Ulker, who is at the top of that list, owns several companies that are fairly known on a worldwide standpoint. In '08, he purchased Godiva from Campbell's Soup, and in 2013 he bought Stanford from Demet's Candy Company, which is specializing in caramel turtles. Forbes also ranked Turkey as the 57th best country to own a business. The architecture of a country could be completely different from a country that's directly next to it. Some countries are known for their architecture, and buildings are modeled off the same technique today. A mosque is a Muslim place of worship and the oldest is the Ula Kama, or the Great Mosque. In early mosques, they were more of a ballistic shape, or a larger oblong hall with a building with double canals and a semicircular apse. Though through the years the style transitioned from square columns to circular ones, like a dome, squinches, or bands of triangles, using elements traditionally used in Asia, such as a squinch, or more frequently than everyone else, an innovation of the Ottoman architecture, or kulai, planned around the mosque, and they adopted the half dome as a major structure of the Great Mosque. The concept of fatih consisted of a mosque, 16 madrasas or Quran schools, a library, a hospital, a hostis, a public kitchen, a caravanserai, a Malaska of Fatih Mehmed and his wife. A madrit is a slim tower rising from the mosque. It varies in height and style and the number. These are the columns up here. Notice the dome at the top. Originally used at the high point to call prayer, so someone would climb up here, ring a bell or yell extremely loud and let everyone know that it was time for prayer. And their fine arts consisted of painting, photography, sculpture, and graphic arts. Every artist has their own style, and every country produces their own artists. Some countries bring up artists who change the world through their specific art styles. TurkishCulture.org goes into depth and style of the art and artists that made them popular. For example, glass painting was extremely popular in the 19th and 20th century. Being referred to as sos vare, they were extremely popular on every level of society. You could find these pieces in weddings, or you could find them to coffee shops and to butchers. The art pieces were extremely fine and had a very large market, millions of sales every year, and also through current art sales on the Bloomberg.com is a website and information on art sales through the years, and they recorded that the two biggest auction houses in New York City last November recorded $1.1 billion in sales. The School of Salat was founded in Paris for Turkish artists who wanted to go in the 1800s during the Reformist period. This was where future artists would perfect their techniques. Culture is the human's intellectual advancement regarding collectively, meaning a country's culture has a lot to do with the future because they go off collected information from the past. So that's why I feel that economic growth, architecture, and the fine arts of this country has a lot to do with culture. Obviously, different reasons could prove my theory or even back it up further.